Hello and welcome to the OK Takes podcast. I am Matt, and as always, I'm joined by my fellow capo, Edward. As of 7:06 a.m. West Coast time, the Dodgers are, dare I say, back. Look, they're rolling into October as the hottest team in baseball if you only count the past 2 days. I'm a stay in the moment guy, and that's where we're at. And I don't know about you, Edward, but this is the best I've felt all year long.
It's up there. This is the best I think offensively we've looked in a long time. Um, and I know it's the Padres, but still, it's always encouraging when you beat up on teams you're supposed to beat up on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's start there. It was a very, very sad showing for the Padres. I think this was the perfect, like the fact that they were second to last series of the year, it was the cherry on top for what was supposed to be this huge hustle and bustle and rivalry. This is something that you set your watch to all year long. That's what it felt like, and crumpled.
Yeah, and like sadly, I have to watch the ESPN broadcast because I don't get Spectrum. But they said like right before the game started, they were like, "Man, this series was supposed to be for everything in the division and for all the standings, and now the Padres are below 500, and the Dodgers kind of just dunked on them."
Mhm. There was a lot of fun throughout this entire series and just humiliating moments for the Padres. But I think some of my favorite might even come from not even the comeback. It was Tuesday night watching Machado sling the ball over Dodger Stadium, had at least 7 errors.
I was gonna say, yeah, one of my favorite moments was when Trey Turner was kind of caught in a pickle there, and then he realized he was like, "Wait, shit, I'm playing the Padres. They're not good. I can just run to third." And he like ran around Machado's tag, and then Machado later on ended up skyrocketing a ball, and it was perfect.
Mhm. Yeah, at that moment, I was wondering, like, are they actually trying to tank? Does Machado have vengeance against the Padres? Because the missed swipe tag, I mean, Manny's a incredible third baseman. This is somebody who has always been among the best in the game, who just doesn't make errors like that. But one of the cardinal sins of baseball is never try and hit a guy on the run during a pickle. And I was like, okay, well, the way he's playing, I think he could be a rookie quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, and then there was that moment where it was like a pop-up foul ball over to third,
Mhm.
and it looked like Machado should have had it with ease, and it dropped, and he was kind of just like walking over to it, and I was like, "What is going on?"
Mhm. I love that. I love his ability to say fucking and lollygag.
He's a big lollygag when things aren't going right guy.
Mhm. I kind of respect it.
Hey, if he's having fun, yeah, who am I to judge?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, and then because the part that makes Manny Machado really enticing is that he still has that pettiness to where the next day he hit a home run off Scherzer and did the kiss my ass thing where he like smooched his finger and then placed it right on his lovely plum.
Yeah, I mean, he can talk his shit, but I mean, look where his team's at.
Because that's the one thing about Machado. You can't forget that he's a $300 million man for a reason.
Hey, he shouldn't be because he bet his contract to that one Dodger fan that he would win the World Series before we would, and that didn't happen. So he owes his entire contract to that Dodger fan.
Dude, I forgot about that. You're right. Okay, we
What's up
have
with that, man?
mhm. Dude, there has to be a rally. I mean, that should be the first thing brought up. If knock on wood, it does happen. We
If
have
we
to
do
get
win
that fan
another
up.
one,
Yeah, we
yeah,
have
we
to.
have to. That fan has to just get like I don't even know. What does he need? Like a GoFundMe? I don't even know what we need to get
No, you
that.
don't. You need to get on the phone with the Padre. Or you have to get on the phone with Machado. We need to use the highest powers possible and get the show on the road with that because you can't make a claim like that and not back it up. I don't care if they didn't shake on it. You still have to follow through and don't make a bet. Yeah, don't offer a bet if you don't want it to happen.
Exactly.
Mhm. All right. So now I want to start transitioning into the Giants and kind of wild card talk and less game talk for now. We'll head back into it. But so my soul was lifted the past 2 days. I got thrown under thrown under the defibrillators. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Look at me, 7:11 a.m. and I'm able to make 2 to 3 syllable words work. That's pretty impressive.
I'm very impressed.
Yeah. But that's what it felt like. They shocked me right on my chest, woke me up. And then after the game, saw Lamonte Wade walk it off. This was like one of the few Giants games I've seen on TV. Like I actually seen on the big screen because I flipped over to MLB Network. Every time I see the Giants, they're either playing the Dodgers or it's a highlight on my phone. But yeah, God damn it. God damn it. I'm telling you, they have some weird fucking juju. Everybody's been saying it all year, and they're so good. They're so good. And it kills me.
They are, but I still would favor us in a postseason series.
If you look at matchups, yes, but I don't know. I just don't know. So it just sucks. So I remember a couple episodes I was saying, oh yeah, it's kind of get fun. It was a little fun to start. I didn't hate watching highlights of them. It was like the baseball fan in me was like a little bit excited watching the juice they have going. I look back at that Matt from 2 weeks ago and I want to put a bullet in his head.
I told you.
What the fuck was I thinking? I mean, it's just like Hawaii money line. What the fuck was I thinking?
It's okay. It's all right.
Mm-hmm.
People make mistakes, man.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. The fucking, like, now I hate everything about them. Fuck those game geezers, those 5 old guys who twin in the bright orange shirts that show up to the games. And then fuck that mascot. It should be illegal to have a mascot who's behind home plate jumping up and down and causing a ruckus while a pitcher is pitching.
You know what would make matters even worse
Hmm.
is if Bumgarner was still on the Giants.
Well, I want to flip that and say Bumgarner started for the Diamondbacks last night, and he wasn't awful, but would it have killed him to not give up any runs?
Yeah, I mean, he was probably deep down, he knew the ramifications and he probably still hates the Dodgers. So he was like, you know what? I'm not going to pitch a great game tonight.
Mm-hmm. Embrace the bait. Did Muncie's big moonshot that go get it out the ocean yourself? Do you think that actually hurt the Dodgers?
Maybe.
Yeah. So, and as far as it goes, so the Giants are just, it's indescribable. There's no way to explain what's going on. When you see Lamonte Wade having at least 300 million walk-offs in a year in walk-off slash late clutch hits, how can you describe it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like my mind goes straight to cheating, but that's because I've been hurt by cheating before in the past. So I'm like, my mind goes straight to the Giants are cheating. But yeah, I mean, they just have that juju. Like they just have those vibes. Like I don't know where it came from. Now they're going to be without Brandon Belt, their home run leader. That's a big loss for their offense, but still, like they've kind of been that like plug and play next man up guy, that next man up team all year. So I have no reason to believe that that their backup's going to come in and hit like 400 in the NLDS.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, they could stick anybody from the AAA system to even remember the guy who used to dress up as the milkman when Melky Cabrera had his crazy hitting streak going from like the early 2010s. If they stuck the milkman into the game, I think he could hit at least 270 with a couple bombs.
Yeah,
if he was a lefty, he could hit balls into Covey's Cove.
Probably with what they're doing up there.
Mm-hmm. Just weird shit. So another team on another weird juju, makes no sense, sucks for the Dodgers, are the Cardinals. Like we've talked about the last couple times. And if they went the regular season undefeated, that's another thing. It wouldn't have surprised me.
I mean, I was thinking like, yeah, sure, winning 17 games in a row is impressive, but then I went and looked at who the Cardinals beat, and they played the Mets twice, who we all know about the Mets. They played like the Reds, they played the Padres, they played like, I believe they played the Marlins in there. Like, they did not play very good teams.
Played the Cubs a couple times.
Yeah, the Cubs a couple of times. So it's like, sure, obviously it's really hard to win that many games in a row. It's an impressive streak.
Mm-hmm.
Then I look and I'm like, well, if you're going to win 17 in a row over any stretch, it's probably going to be this one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not too worried about the Cardinals anymore, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I'm setting myself up to be disappointed, but
yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell with the team that gets that hot, because how do you describe? I mean, playoff baseball is one of the greatest things known to man. I mean, better than sliced bread or microwaves, because you just can't, it's just so electric, and it's just weird. That's the only way to describe it. It's electric because it's weird, makes no sense, super unpredictable, and you can't figure it out on a fucking Excel spreadsheet.
yeah, all those analytics dudes with the glasses and the calculators kind of get thrown out the window when the playoffs come around.
Mm-hmm. Especially like the last 2 weeks of the year. I mean, and they did. So the Cardinals win streak ended at 17, but then the day after they lost, they won again. So that's 18 wins in 19 games. So that's nothing to just look and glance over. But oh my God, it's hard not to be afraid of them. And that's why I blogged. So I blogged on like, yeah, we should be afraid of the Cardinals. And it has nothing to do with the Dodgers. Like, I don't care if the Dodgers had prime Babe Ruth, Barry Bonds, Ted Williams, anything. I don't care if they had that big slugger from Rookie of the Year on their team. Yeah, and I don't even care if the Dodgers had prime Henry Rowengartner pitching.
Yeah, I mean, it's a matchup wise, it's like, oh, here we go again. We got the Cardinals. We all know about the history. Mm-hmm. But did the Dodgers have Trey Turner back then? Did they have Mookie Betts back then? Did they have Max Scherzer, Walker Buehler? Like, this team is like, looking at the Dodger lineup, I'm kind of in denial that there's a way we lose this game. Just strictly on paper, I'm looking at our lineup and our pitching compared to them, and I'm like, how could we possibly lose? I just don't see it.
But then we become the Excel spreadsheet guys ourselves, because on paper, that's like the joke we've always, like, that's kind of a running joke of the podcast, is on paper, the Dodgers should win every single game.
Yep.
Like, on paper, the Giants should be 81-81 at their best. The best case scenario this year was Giants going 81-81 and are 10 games back from the second place, or I'll say 5 games back from second place in the wild card.
Yep.
On paper.
Look at them. Now look at
on
them.
Paper.
Yeah. So it's going to be, Wednesday night is not going to be a good night. Like, regardless of what happens, I'm going to be stressed. I'm going to be like, oh, it's going to be so scary.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the best. I think that's the most reasonable place to be in if you're a Dodger fan, is, look, we know the power we have. We know that we have guys like Trey Turner. We know that we're going to have a Max Scherzer on the mound. It's probably going to be well rested. But how do you account for a Goldschmidt? How do you account for a Nolan Arenado? How do you account for a Carlson? Like, all these things, and then Adam Wainwright's going to be on the mound. It's you're supposed, if you cannot be too cocky heading into that game. If you're a fan, obviously I know the players aren't, but if you're a fan, you just can't write the Cardinals off. I do not care. You just can't write them off, even if, like we said during the win streak, they didn't play great competition. They're not playing first place teams. I don't know. It's you're just not. I don't give fans permission to saying that this is an automatic win. I'm redacting any hope or any surety of fans.
I mean, yeah, you're right. But it being in Dodger Stadium is really kind of, I think, the thing that sways this game. I think if we had to play this game in St. Louis, I would pick the Cardinals to win. but because I think that
Mm.
crowd, I've heard that crowd before in postseason baseball up in St. Louis, and it's like insane. And I mean, just listening to the Dodger fans the last two nights, especially that comeback, was like this crowd is ready for postseason baseball and is ready to get loud.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, that's perfect segue because that's literally the next thing I want to talk about was how that comeback reinvigorated so much energy back into not only Chavez Ravine, but to fans at home. Because I've been like the last week and a half, I've been kind of going into games with a bit of a lull and just feeling a little bit droopy eyed during games because it's like, okay, we're going to win, but then we don't have any of that same energy. Like we have enough energy to win, but not enough energy to really get that weird juju going during the playoffs. Listen, if it wasn't for innings set or the bottom of the seventh through the top of the ninth on Wednesday, I would have no level of like a very low level of confidence heading into the wild card game. And even like there's a little part of me now, it's like, wait, if the Giants drop two, we could possibly sweep the Brewers.
Yeah, but that's assuming the Padres are just going to start randomly trying again. And,
It's tough.
and
That's tough. That's tough.
I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, let's just talk about Wednesday's comeback because that is what brought the Dodgers back. I really feel like that was a big turning point. That had like there's that it just has to be. It has to be that way. The story can't end with that not being meaning anything more than a nice comeback win.
Well, I mean, sure, if the Dodgers do go on and win the wild card game and win the World Series, we could possibly look back at that game as being this was the moment where the Dodgers were remembered and were like, wait, we have the best team in baseball, the best lineup in baseball. Let's start playing like it. Like when they went down 9-5 and they kind of woke up and started swinging for the fences and hitting dongs left and right. And then last night doing the same thing, hitting 5 home runs last night. We'll see what they do against the Brewers. But yeah, if they go on and win, we're going to look back at that game as like kind of a statement saying, wait, don't forget about us, MLB. Like we know about the Cardinals winning 17 in a row. We know about the Giants being who they are, but don't forget about us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the guy that makes it feel like don't forget, or there's two guys who makes it feel like don't forget about us are AJ Pollock and Corey Seager. Because Seager has 10 home or let me see, yeah, 10 home runs in the past 5 games, I believe, or 5 home runs in the past 10 games. And he ended September with a 455 on base percentage. So it's a classic don't look, but Corey Seager is back on his shit. And then AJ Pollock had another incredible month hitting. He was so key for what's been going on and helping the offense out. And he has 4 home runs the past 2 days, I believe.
And speaking of AJ Pollock, I don't know if you saw this, but I guess there was a stipulation in his contract that he signed where if he reached a certain number of plate appearances, he would have an opt-out after this season. But he's like, I think 20 plate. He needs to get like 20 or 30 plate appearances in the next 3 games, which obviously isn't going to happen. So the opt-out isn't going to take into effect. So we're basically forcing him to stay with us this year or next year. So gotta love that.
Mm-hmm. Smart move. Maybe it was planned for him to, that's the plan for the hamstring injury. Because there was no reason, because I mean, that's why the offense was a little bit of a lull 2-3 weeks beginning of September, because he wasn't there and he had the weird ass slide in San Francisco where he looked like somebody who hadn't slid in 40 years at like a slow pitch game who was pretty drunk off their ass. So that was planned. Smart move.
Yep, definitely.
Literally took one for the team.
Yeah. Man, yeah, he's been such a I remember when they signed him and I was like, oh, he's a good player. He kind of tormented us in Arizona. I was not expecting this from him. Mm-hmm. Like I look at him as a key piece heading into October this year.
Yeah, I look at him as someone who has more to do with the success in the past month of September than guys like Mookie. And it sounds weird to say that. Or maybe not so much September, but the second half has done way more than Mookie, way more than Chris Taylor. The whole point of having AJ Pollock on the team right now is because he could make up for Chris Taylor, who has gone incognito.
Yeah. Where did he go?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to touch on it too much, but yeah, he's just been really, really fucking bad. I mean, his on base percentage is about 100 points lower this half than the last half. But thank God we have AJ Pollock to pick up for him. Yeah. So comeback game. What I'll share mine after, but like, what were your favorite parts?
I think my favorite moment was Corey Seager showing some emotion. We're not really used to that. And then when he hit that 2-run home run, he was like rounded first base and like yelling out to the dugout and stuff. That was like a really good thing to see because he's not a big guy that shows emotion very often. It takes a big moment like that, but it's clear that he's all in on this team. He's not thinking about where is he going to sign this offseason. He's all in on right now. Mm-hmm. So that was a very encouraging sight to see. Bellinger hitting a home run also, you know, maybe kind of finding that swing again, hopefully. And yeah, just the way they were able to fight back. I mean, that's kind of been the staple for Dodger teams in the last few years is they never quit. Games are never over. And I feel like they kind of got away from that this year. So it was awesome to see that same fight and that same hunger they had in recent years.
Yeah, the belly ding dong to tie up the game was probably my favorite because we have not seen clutch belly. We just haven't. And the only other time the Dodger fans have seen clutch belly this year was the pinch hit home run against the Cubs on like June 24th. That was the end, or the walk-off pinch hit home run. Yeah, it's just been so long, just kind of forgotten what that feels like to root for Belly at home. And then Belly gets to remember, oh yeah, these people don't hate me, but if I'm putting up a 158 batting average, chances are they want to slice my throat or just forget that I exist. And now that Lux is out for a couple of days, maybe he could get a little bit of juju going. So there's that. And then Kenley. That was an all-time fuck you inning by Kenley to close up shop.
God, how good is Kenley right now? I mean, like he is without a doubt our best reliever. Mm-hmm. Like Trinan is kind of tapered off. He's been shaky lately. So, I mean, just seeing Kenley, like I've got a big feeling that he's going to get some big outs this month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. He was literally one pitch off from immaculate.
Yeah.
He struck out the side on 10 pitches, just darting that fucking cutter by Tatis, because Tatis led off was due up first after the Dodgers came back in the top of the ninth. And after he struck Tatis, I was like, yep, this is it. This is game over. And it feels nice to have that certainty with Kenley. It's the best feeling in the world, having a closer who could come in and know that's it. Oh, it's the best. And I don't know how long it'll last, but in that moment, you honestly hate Kenley and will never, ever come around on him if you didn't know that he was going to close up shop right then and there after striking out Tatis. And Tatis was fucking whiffing, just whiffing.
Yeah, he was lost. But yeah, you're right. It's always a good feeling when you have a closer that you know is going to come in and just shut shit down. And there's going to be no lingering thoughts of, wow, he didn't, he wasn't hitting his spots, but he still got out of it, or his velocity was down. Like, no, Kenley came in business as usual.
Yeah. Awesome. So now we're going to head into a 3-game series against the Brewers throughout the year. We're still 2 games back. So there is a chance that we could arise to first place in the division.
But I love that we're pushing the Giants to the brink. Yeah. Like we're not letting them lock it up so easy because like they keep winning, but so do we. Yeah. So it's like we're not really giving them any room to breathe, even though they're probably still going to win. They kind of have to make sure they don't slip up here against the Padres because we're not showing any signs of slowing down.
Yeah, it's awesome. So good vibes heading into the end of the year, last series of the year. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to episode 34 of OK Takes. If you would like to follow myself on Instagram and Twitter, you can find me at MattWeiner20. If you'd like to follow Edward on his Instagram and Twitter. You can find him at Edward_Vento. But if you have no care in the world for anything we have to say, make sure to follow the OK Takes podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at OK Takes Pod. That is OKAY Takes Pod. OKAY Takes Pod. Takes 2 seconds, would help us tremendously. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and have a wonderful day.